I like this new atmosphere.
Yes. Sitting in front of our books. Some of our books.
Hi.
Hey, everyone.
So, in honor of National Coming Out Day, we wanted to talk about coming out.
So we're going to talk a little bit about our stories, and we hope you enjoy them and learn something.
You don't have to learn anything.
Benefit in some way, or at least, I don't know. So I realized probably around first grade that I was getting crushes on girls, and I didn't understand it, and I didn't know anybody else who felt that way, and I didn't talk about it. And growing up, I didn't have any examples of gay couples or queer couples of any kind, or even people in general who identified as anything other than straight. So it just always seemed like, for a while, I didn't even know it was an option to allow myself to feel those feelings, never mind that you could form a life with somebody and have a relationship that's normal and healthy, just like any other relationship. That's part of why Leah and I decided to do this YouTube channel, was because there are people who may be in the same position, that they don't have somebody, a couple to look at and just realize, oh, like, it doesn't matter, you know, if you're two men, two women, two, however you identify, or one, or, you know, however you identify in the world as a couple, it doesn't change anything. Love is love, and your relationship's going to be just like any other relationship. And you know, why am I feeling so emotional about this?
It's emotional.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it just breaks my heart that, like, it even has to be a day, and that, you know, that National Coming Out Day even exists, because it should just be that you're innately who you are, and it's not something that has to be announced. It just is, just like somebody just is straight, or just is afraid of heights, or what, you know, whatever thing is innately part of you shouldn't have to. It shouldn't be assumed that you aren't that. It just breaks my heart that there might be people out there who feel like they can't just be who they are and how they are because of ideas that are being put in their head, or people around them who are too afraid to accept that there are all different types of people in the world. And so they're making it difficult for somebody to just be how they are when there's nothing wrong with it.
Looking back, I can still remember the crush I had on I think when I was in 5th grade, and there was a girl in 6th grade who had short hair, and, you know, like, when I tried to tell myself it was because she looked like a boy, because I didn't know that it was okay to feel that way, and so you tried to, like, you know, make an excuse for it. If seeing gay couples or just knowing about that was something that was more accessible to me, I might have been able to put things together better when I was younger, as opposed to ending up, you know, I dated men and women, and I dated women because it was what I wanted, and I dated men is because it was the option most of the time. I do feel like I followed, you know, what was the set out path, you know, like do well in school, have friends, you know, do extracurriculars, blah, blah, blah. And I just did those things. And I guess maybe because it was the norm to be straight, I just followed that. Right before I started college, my friend was at a summer program, and a few of us went to visit, and I'm going to cry. And I, of course, was drinking at the time. And I had been dating someone we also all knew for on and off all of high school. And I remember walking up the stairs in her dorm room, and I was just kind of like, Becca's my girlfriend. And everybody was like, we know. And there are still people who are really important to me. And that was kind of like how I knew it was okay. And I even struggled for years after that. But that was like, you know, like people who, they didn't even, it wasn't a question. It wasn't like, it was just like, right, what are we doing next, you know? I know that's not everybody's experience, but it should be, and maybe it can be, the more of us who talk about our experiences, good and bad. I still, something that happens because I don't look gay, whatever that means. And even on Friday, I mentioned being married, and the first response was, oh, well, what does your husband think about whatever we were talking about? And that's actually usually the case for me. I say something about being married, and it's your husband, ... And so I literally have to come out on a regular basis to strangers. So I live my life in a certain way, but I still, because I don't wear a pin that says I'm gay, or because I dress feminine, that I still have to do that. And that's actually harder. I literally on Friday had to take a second and go, how do I do this? Because it feels like a confrontation. It feels like now I'm correcting the thing that you've said and telling you that you're wrong, and how, not even just worried about how they'll take that I'm gay, because I don't actually, luckily, usually have to worry that people won't be okay with it. I live in New York, and that's luckily something that's not really an issue, but just that I've told you you're wrong about something you said about me, and it disrupts whatever relationship we've already had going, because now I'm sort of challenging you. But I think maybe because people do come out in general, when I do say it, I do get accepted, or it just goes, oh, a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't know why I shouldn't have assumed that. When you do have to come in contact with somebody who doesn't support it, there are people who will. And, I have experience with older people in my family who, if I had come out 20 years ago, I would have probably been a little too young to come out. Maybe, I don't know. But they might not have accepted it. And there has been so much about it that now I am accepted, and they were supportive of Stacey and I getting married. And that's why we have to keep coming out, because it has to keep changing and be accepted.
Girl. I was in high school. I had a boyfriend, and it was like I'd go over his house and be like, okay, I'm going home now. Like, I was just not into it. But I knew I had crushes on girls, but I just pushed it away and didn't think about it, and was like, just don't think about that. That's weird. Don't do that. Had it been in this day and age, like, my high school now has a gay straight alliance, and like that would have been amazing to have that. And I hope more schools, and I hope anybody watching this who's in school has groups like that they can go to. And there's people who are like you who get it, people who are not like you who get it. So if you're watching this and you're somebody who is in an environment or in a family or in a situation where nobody gets it, you feel like an alien, you feel like you don't know how you're going to fit into this world. Like, there's so many more people, and there's such a big world out there that will accept you and think you're awesome. There's a lot of people who do get it. I fell in love with my straight best friend, and before I had come to accept that was what was happening in the beginning of the year, I was hanging out with my sister, and out of nowhere, we had a job together, and we were working, and out of nowhere she said, what would you do if this friend told you she was attracted to women? And I was like, what? And then I remember that was on the lunch hour, we went back to work, and I was in the bathroom, and I was like, like, I felt like I was gonna throw up, and then I went back in the room by her, and I was like, crying, and she's like, what's the matter? And I was like, you know how you asked me that question? She went, you think you're gay? Oh my goodness, this is so fun! This is so fun! And I was like, I do. And then we went to the boss. We were like, we had to leave. And then we drove off, and she pulled over and was like, tell me everything. And I was telling her, I realized I had a crush on this person in high school and that person, and I didn't know it. And she was just like, this is amazing. She was so sweet. She was like, wow. I know. It was like such a beautiful moment between me and my sister. And she was just so celebratory, which was really sweet. I'm lucky for that. And I never got with the best friend. Now we're here.
Making this channel.
Now we're here making a channel. So hopefully this channel will help other people realize, like, oh, it's not some, like, strange, crazy thing. It's just a relationship.
Just life.
It's just life. It's just life. I'm suppressing a burp. That's why my voice was like, it's just life.
Oh, boy.
It's just life. I was pushing. It's just life. Suppressing.
This is probably really long.
Yeah. Well, we're going to edit.
Yeah.
So hopefully we've made some sense. I don't know if we've inspired you. I think we've just basically talked about ourselves.
Well, thanks for listening.
But thank you for listening. There's nothing wrong with love. Love is love.
We're all humans, and that should be the only thing that really matters at the end of the day.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it. I winked. Sup? No. First, let's talk about some funny stuff about being gay.
Oh, what's that?
So,
That's
I don't know, but I'm hitting some good light right here, and my hair's looking good.
I don't.
Wait.